Snuff Filmmaker SNUFFED. Violent and grisly death called an accident, or was it murder?
The film that could only be made in South America, where life is cheap.
Greetings, fiends. Today we're looking at one of the strangest true crime film-related stories I have ever covered. Snuff filmmaker Michael Finlay was killed in one of the most violent and grisly ways imaginable. The incident was labeled an accident, but as we peel back the putrid layers of this rotten onion to expose the core, signs may point to espionage and murder. Finlay is infamously known for co-directing and writing Snuff from 1975, a pseudo-snuff movie made to cash in on the urban snuff film legends that were very popular in the 1970s and 80s. Snuff plot. Quote, "The bloodiest thing that ever happened in front of a camera. The exploits of a cult leader leading a gang of bikers in a series of supposedly real killings on film." Unquote. The movie was originally shot and released as The Slaughter in 1971. Here is a short clip from Snuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, the bloodiest thing that ever happened in front of a camera. Snuff. This is the true story of 4 innocent young actresses who thought they were making just another movie, but didn't know they were making the ultimate movie.
You will feel the pain, and you will not flinch from it.
Snuff, the film that could only be made in South America, where life is cheap. Snuff, the bloodiest thing that ever happened in front of a camera. Snuff.
Finlay's 1960s exploitation films. Earlier Finlay film adventures include such 60s roughies and or nudie cuties as The Touch of Her Flesh from 1967, The Kiss of Her Flesh from 1968, and The Curse of Her Flesh, also from 1968. And in all of these sordid little gems, Finlay played the lead role of insane sleazebag, who for one reason or another exacts revenge upon hot exotic dancers and hookers. For example, The Kiss of Her Flesh plot. A weapons expert who murdered his unfaithful stripper wife and her lover goes on a killing spree, bumping off exotic dancers and hookers, while plotting the demise of his wife's swinging bisexual sister and her kinky boyfriend. In the 1970s, Finlay did some more grindhouse exploitation films, such as Shriek of the Mutilated from 1974. But it was in 1971 when Michael Finlay made a film called The Slaughter, the nasty little grindhouse flick shot in South America that would eventually be re-edited and released as Snuff in 1975. Snuff director Snuffed. Was it murder? This is where things get even weirder. Here is the word-for-word bio of Finlay on IMDb and elsewhere. Quote, filmmaker Michael Finlay was killed in a helicopter accident on the roof of the Pan Am building in May of 1977. On his way to John F. Kennedy Airport to connect with a Paris-bound flight, Finlay was planning to demonstrate his new 3D camera invention to potential backers in France. Finlay and 3 other passengers were about to board the helicopter when its landing support suddenly collapsed. The helicopter fell onto one side, and its spinning rotor blades decapitated Finlay and killed the 3 other passengers. A woman on the street below was also killed when she was hit by a detached rotor blade from the helicopter. Some of the photos you're seeing are from the incident, and here is the New York Times original report dated May 16th, 1977. 5 killed in helicopter accident on top of Pan Am building. On May 16, 1977, a rotor blade broke off a helicopter on the roof of Manhattan's Pan Am building after the copter's landing gear failed, causing it to turn sideways. The blade killed 5 people. The New York Times reported, quote, "Whirling like a giant boomerang, the blade struck 4 people on the rooftop landing pad, killing 3 instantly, then plunged over the skyscraper's west parapet. About halfway down the gray tower, the blade crashed into a window and broke in 2. One piece of the blade continued to fall, whirling onto Madison Avenue and killing a woman." Unquote. The National Transportation Safety Board determined that the accident was caused by mental fatigue, which caused the landing gear to fail. The Pan Am helipad was shut down following the accident and has not reopened. Finlay's 3D process. According to his wife and colleagues, here are some snippets from the RialtoReport.com article on Finlay's 3D invention. Quote, "Mike's 3D system was called Super Depth. We talked about it all the time, and I saw the prototype he was working on with an engineer. The problem with 3D for exhibitors was you needed 2 cameras to shoot it and you needed 2 projectors to show it, which meant that you had to stop the film in the middle and reload everything because both projectors were running. Michael came up with the idea of having 2 lenses on the front of the camera, one for the left eye and one for the right eye. When the images come through, a prism or mirrored device makes one go to the top of the 35mm frame and one go to the bottom. So what you've got on a negative that's still the same shape as the 35mm film is the left eye and the right eye. The projection lens reverses the process. This was real 3D, not the phony red and blue." Unquote. As Finlay started to work on the camera, Stan Borden offered to fund its development in return for a share of the profits when it was sold. Finlay made an adult 3D movie using test footage he'd been shooting and released it as Funk in 1976. Months later, the accident happened, killing Michael Finlay and effectively killing the sale and development of the 3D technology. Eventually, Michael's wife, Roberta Finlay, signed over the rights to the 3D technology to financier Stan Borden. He died a short time later, and nothing was ever done with the 3D designs. A mystery to this day. Was it a freak accident caused by structural failure of the helicopter? Or was the helicopter sabotaged so the landing support would collapse and kill Finlay? The incident was ruled an accident. The case was closed, and we will never know for sure. But keep in mind that just 5 years later, in 1980, designs were already underway for the resurgence of 3D movies, which enjoyed a huge popularity from 1981 through 1983. 1980s 3D films. A few noteworthy 80s 3D films include Comin' At Ya from 1981, Parasite from 1982, Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D, also from 1982, Amityville 3D and Jaws 3D, both from 1983, all were part of the brief yet popular wave of 3D flicks from the early 1980s. Anyone who landed the best 3D technology would have made a mint, and apparently Finlay was in possession of such technology when he met his gruesome and violent end. Murder or accident? Let us know what you think in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, please like and subscribe. Thank you.